Mhm. What are the different things we have inside this object-oriented programming system that we have to see? Okay, so first thing, what are the principles of OOPS which are required for any programming language? Like we have a class, so OOPS things are there, right? What are the OOPS things we have? First is class, second is object, third is inheritance, and fourth is polymorphism, fifth
Encapsulation.
is encapsulation, and
Overloading.
sixth is abstraction. Polymorphism comes under overloading and overriding.
Okay.
Polymorphism means overloading and overriding. Okay. So next thing, what is class and object? So at the starting demo, I've taken that class. I'll just take it again. Okay. So the thing is, object means which exists physically, which has some properties, and it can perform some action, right?
Yes.
That is an object. What is class? Which doesn't exist.
Group of objects.
Yeah, group of objects you can say. So if I say animal is a class or object,
Animal
Is
is
a
class.
class.
and tiger is a
Object.
Object.
object. So person is a class or object.
Class.
Person is a class.
So person is a class, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So here a person with the name Rahul is a
Object.
Object.
object. So Rahul is an object, and here what we can say, we have a particular property like age, height, weight, name. All these are the properties, right?
Yes.
And what are the actions you can say? Talk, read, walk, sleep. These all comes under the actions. Okay. So if you want to write the same program in Python, what you have to write here? A class will be there. So what is that class? You can say
Person.
Person.
person, colon is required, space indent is required. Then whatever the variables you want, you can give that variables, right? So age, height, and def is required to define a method, right? Yeah. Eat, walk. So there is no memory for the class. That class doesn't exist in the sense there is no memory for it. So we need to allocate the space, right? So we allocate some space, say Rahul equals to person. That's the object creation in Python, which allocates some space or memory. And here we can just say this thing Rahul. Now, how to store the age? How to access the age now? Using Rahul itself, right? So Rahul.age is 22. We can store. So the Rahul memory will be getting stored as 22. Suppose if I have one more person like Shiva equals to person, I'm saying another memory block is got creating, right?
Yes.
And what is that name? You can say Shiva. So how to store the age? Can I store the age equals to 32?
Shiva. Shiva dot age.
Shiva dot age. Then only that Shiva location will have the 32, right? So, but few things are there. Like in Python, for a variable, if I don't give the value, what happens?
Hello, right?
if I don't give a value for a variable, what happens?
To give a error. Yeah, we need to define it.
Error. We need to give the values. You need to remember that point. And next thing, what is the advantage of this class and object and all means? The variable is declared only once and we were able to access it twice based on this particular number of objects, right? Is the advantage of class is clear?
Yes, yes.
First of all, what is class definition? You can say
Reusable or
collection of
objects.
objects and collection of properties
Properties.
and action collection of variables and methods. So the first thing, what is object?
Exists in the real world.
A memory block for the class, or we can say an instance of class. It's a textbook definition, that is instance of a class. Instance or the object points to memory itself. This is the most important thing you have to understand. Okay, so whatever thing we are pointing, it's pointing to the memory itself. And here, how to create object?
Object equal to class.
That's it. Like syntax will be there, object name will be there, and object name will be equal to class name. Okay, so that syntax will make sure the object is getting created, some memory is getting allocated, right?
Yes.
So apart from this, you need to understand few other things also, like reference. What is a reference variable? If I have created an object, like I'm saying I'm creating the Rahul object, right? Here memory is getting created, and that memory name what I have given, I'm just trying to create that Rahul equals to person, right? So here Rahul will be there, and apart from Rahul, there is a particular another reference which is pointing to our object. Means what the Python will do, it will store self equals to Rahul. So what's happening? Self is a keyword actually. Self is a keyword. It is known as a reference variable, which is pointing to an object. What object? You can say a Rahul object. So you can access those variables using the
Self keyword.
self. Okay. So what I'm trying to do, I'm having those variables and I'm trying to access them using the self. Is this point clear?
Yeah. Clear.
Self is the keyword to access the variables, reference variable.
Yes. Like when there is no scope to use Rahul, I can use self, I'm saying.
Okay.
And the self is a very important concept in this Python, because for every method you pass this self actually. The object you need to pass, so that based on that object you can access the variables. Okay. So once you see the program, you will understand why we require self. But the first thing what I'm saying is Rahul is a memory. Apart from Rahul, who is pointing to our memory is self. That point, is it clear?
Yeah. Clear.
Yes.
What is self? You can say it points to the object of a class, right? That is the self reference, you can say, reference variable. Okay. Now, after this, we know we have to write the class, we have to write the variables, we have to write the methods. So, what are the types of variables we have? That we have to see. So, variables can be classified into primitive variables, or in Python you can directly say it is classified into, first thing, instance variable, second, static variable, and third, local variable. Okay, so here what is instance variable means, we can say it as object variable. And what is static variable means, we can say it as class variable. And what is local variable means, these are known as method variables. Just a terminology, different terminologies for different names you can see. Okay, so here what are instance variables, how to access them, how to write the thing, that we have to see. Instance variable. So I'm opening a particular thing. First, I'm writing a class student, and student will have ID. So what is that ID? First I'm initializing as 0, and it will have some percentage like 0.0, and we have some thing like these two things are there. One is ID and percentage, right? Why I gave the values? Because if I don't give the values, it gives error, right?
Yes.
And these are known as instance variables. The variables which are declared inside the class, outside the method, are known as instance variables. And the thing is, instance variables are also known as object variables, because these instance variables memory will be allocated when you create an object. Let's do one thing. I'll write a class. Let's check it out whether it's executing or not. I'm writing a class. What you can say, student. That ID is there, which is 0, and percentage is there, 0.0. So I'm directly trying to point at system.out.println. Sorry, it's Python, right? So what you can write directly? Print out.
So the semicolon is compulsory here?
No. It's a habit actually. I teach Python on Java also, right? There.
Okay.
So in Python, it's optional actually. Oops.py, where we have this thing inside G drive, right? Python programs batch 1. Save this thing. CMD, G drive, series space Python program, series space batch 1, py space oops.py. What it's saying? Built-in function ID is saying, but it's not displaying that value, right?
Yes.
Percentage is not defined, it's saying, right? Means what? Class variables are there, but we cannot access them directly, right?
Yes. Through object.
But it depends on objects, right? When I create object, the memory will be allocated. The memory will be allocated for the ID and the memory will be allocated for the percentage. Is this point clear?
Yeah. Clear.
So one thing will be ID and the other thing will be the percentage. Okay. So here, if I create one object, one memory will be allocated, right? And if I create another object, another memory location for the ID and percentage, another memory location for the ID and percentage will be allocated. Okay. Now, suppose consider I have a particular variable which is college. Okay. That's the default value I have given. So what is instance variable? What you have seen till now, we'll just revise the points. First thing, so what are instance variables? The variable defined inside the class and outside the method, right?
Yes.
And what is the next point? You can say instance variable depends on object. There is one location will be generated per one object, right? So instance variables depends on object. There is one location per object. And what I can say, if we don't initialize means if we don't give value, this thing ID equals to 0, this is initialization, like initially assigning any value. If I don't give it, what happens?
Yeah, it throws the error.
Right. Initialize the instance variables, it gives error. Okay. So how to indicate that? Class student is there and ID percentage are the instance variables we can say, right? Now if the instance variable is there, what is the necessity of static? I'll just show you one thing. Like I'm just trying to have a college and I'm trying to print that college using student.college. What I've done, I've used this class name to access this college, right? Say this thing. I'll remove this thing. Only student I'm trying to print.
Done.
We haven't given any value, right? Let's do one thing. Student.college equals to tcr. Okay. What I got displayed?
Access with the class name.
So what is this college actually? What is the necessity of this class name? Means a variable, suppose consider college is there. Now in a college, for all the students, the college name will be same or different?
Same.
It's same. So it is tcr for all the students, right? If I access it using the object, what happens?
It will have separate memory for every object, so it can have one.
if I using it using object, what will happen? It will allocate separate memory for every time, right? Every object.
Yeah.
And what is the problem we are facing here? The same value is being stored in different memories. So memory is getting wasted, right?
Mhm.
This is important. Like here you can have different IDs, whatever the ID percentage you want, you can have it. But the college name will be same, right?
Yeah.
So these variables which are having a common values throughout all the objects, instead of accessing using the object, we can access using the class name. So if I use a class name to access those, that is a static variable. Means in Python we have two types of memories. This is a note point and very important. In Python, two types of memory. One, object memory. Who is developing it? Programmer needs to create it. And second thing, static memory. How to access a static memory? Class name. And what I can say, it is the predefined memory. So static, we are not defining, we just using this thing. How we are using the static memory? Using the class name, right? If I call any variable or method using the class name, then it comes under the static memory. Is this point clear?
Yeah.
Others, Manoj.
Yeah, clear.
Yes.
Vijay.
Yes. Yes.
So in Python, we have two types of memories. One is object memory, which the programmer generates, and the static memory, which is a predefined memory, which we can access using the class name. So what is this college now? It's a static variable. How can you say a variable as static? If it is being accessed using the class name, then that variable is a static variable. It does not depend on the particular object memory. Here the memory will not be allocated then, right? So now, so what I have to say is, what is, we didn't write this self, right? Self in the sense, yeah. So what is the next thing we have to write here? Known as static variable. So the variable defined inside the class and outside the method, which is being accessed
Class.
by using class name, is known as static variables, right? So what is it? For static variables, only one location will be there. Only one location is allocated for static variables. Okay? And what is the point? If we don't initialize static variables, then we'll get error, right? So that's the next thing you can say. If we don't initialize the static variables, then we'll get error. So now, coming to the part like how to write a program now. We'll take the instance variables as ID and percentage, and college as a static variable. So for instance variable, what it depends on object, right? So how to create object? Rahul equals to
As student.
student. So it allocates some memory, right? Let's do one thing. Print type of Rahul. Save this thing.
Yes.
So it's a main thing, which is an object, right? Like student class object, right? So what is this also I'll explain, but later I'll explain
Yeah,
that.
friends, good morning to all.
So what I can say, it's a class object of student. We can just say that thing, right?
So
that's a type of
welcome
Rahul.
to DurgaSoft
And
and
if
welcome
I
to
say
Python sessions.
type of
So very happy to see after long time
student,
again
then
the Python sessions for you people, right? Okay. So just
it's
the
directly
main
giving class type,
intention,
right?
the main objective of the session is
So student is a class
just the
type,
basic
we
idea
can say.
about the Python we require to discuss.
So
Okay,
now,
like so
how
can you
to
please
access that
confirm?
variables? Like I have Rahul.id equals to some values I have given, like 1023, and Rahul.percentage equals to some 76.4. Okay, and student dot college equals to tcr. So what I want to print, id equals to rahul.id. Suppose, can I write directly id here? Because already rahul.id I have given the value, right?
So either it will be self or call.
Okay, rahul.id and print percentage equals to rahul.percentage, right? Save this thing and just mention here, I'll mention here, college equals to student.college. So ID, percentage and college, we got this thing, right?
Yeah.
Understood? So
Yes.
if I here, instead of Rahul, use self, what I'm getting?
Not defined.
Namespace is not.
See, self can be used inside the class, not outside the class. Remember this point.
Okay.
Self is used inside the class, not outside. Okay. When we write the functions or the methods, you will understand why we are using the self. So now, after this, like this is where we write the variables and assign the value and display them, right? Suppose what I'm trying to do, instead of Rahul, I created a Shiva object, student, and I'm printing all of them again without assigning any value. Okay, so I'm not giving directly that value, I'm just printing it. Now tell me what will be the values.
0, 0.0 null.
Yeah.
Think and tell, because it's different.
0 and tcr.
Yeah.
Yes, TKR. Why?
Oh,
I
yeah.
mentioned a point
Static.
that only one location is allocated for static variables.
Yeah, that's it.
Let's see whether it's null or TKR. We
Yes,
can't say how Python works, but it's taking TKR itself, right? So why it's TKR? Because we already seen the point, only one location is allocated for static variables, right? So already that location is filled with a value, right?
Mhm.
So then the same value will be printed. And why I'm getting 0 and 0.0? Because we have assigned it.
Initialized.
This is a default installation. We have done it, right? So next thing, understood this part? Any doubts?
Yeah.
So this variables, like how to write the instance variables, how to write the static variables, you have to understand. Then we can go with the other variables. Okay. So next thing, I'll just save this thing and send it to you in the group. Okay. So what is self? Self is a reference variable, and self points to the object of a class. Oops, concept. So in the desktop, I'll just directly save this thing. Just remind me if I don't send it. I'll send it these things in the group, so it will be easy to you remember. Okay. Now this is one example. Next, another example we are writing. So instead of taking Shiva, what I want to have is I'm writing another class. Another class known as employee, right? So EID will be there, which is 0, and what you can say, salary will be there. If you want, you can have it as 0.0, and the company name will be there, right? Company. So what's that company? I can give just directly default. So now here one class was there, student, so I created one object for student. If employee object is there, I need to access Shiva, right? Or anything, like you can say Kiran equals to employee. So memory is allocated for the employee, right? So here Kiran.eid equals to, I can just give 202, and what I have to mention here, Kiran.salary equals to, directly I can specify some salary, like say some 50,000, and what I'm saying here, employee.company. So what is that employee.company means?
Orbit.
That's nothing but Infosys I'm saying. Anything we can write, right? So print this thing. Employee ID. So what is that employee ID? Kiran.id itself, EID. Print employee salary. So what is that employee salary? You can say Kiran.salary, right? Print employee company, and I can write employee.company, right? That's a habit, just every time confusing. We can remove that also. Okay. Say this thing and run it. I didn't give comma here. Syntax problem. Give this comma here. So we got ID percentage in college and employee ID and salary and company, right? So what do you understand by this? A class or a file, Python file, can contain n number of classes, and you can access them by creating the objects, right?
Yes.
Understood.
Can I use Rahul equal to employee? I mean, same object for two different classes.
Try it out once. Let's try then.
No, that it can be employed at the company,
Employee dot,
right?
yeah. Employee.
You're getting the values, right?
Yeah.
But actually what's happening is if you just take these values and print here, okay?
Go on.
Let's, what's it saying?
Right. Object has no attribute ID.
Because I've written Rahul.id, it's saying employee object, no, there is no parameter like that. The thing what happened actually is the memory got overridden. Here you stored some, like I can just say x equals to 10 is the right.
Mm-hmm.
And if I say x equals 20, what happens? 10 will be removed and just 20 will be kept, right?
Correct. Yeah.
The same thing happened here also. You can use that Rahul same, but if you want to access that Rahul.id, Rahul.percentage, student.college, again after that employee object creation, you cannot access it.
Okay. Got it.
So what you have to do, best thing will be give another name. It will be easy to have it, right?
Okay.
Kiran.salary. Okay. So this is another example, right? Sorry. So the first thing is what? It is nothing but if I give a same object for the class and without giving any values, I print it. Only for the static, it will print the value. For the remaining things, it will print that initialized values. Right? So next thing. So till now, what you have understood? What is class definition?
Collection of object.
Method.
Right. What is the object means?
You can say a memory block for class.
Right. What does memory block do? It allocates some space, right?
It allocates a space for each object.
So without object, can I access the variables?
No.
No.
If it is static, we can access using the class name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the instance variables, we need object because instance depends on object, right?
Okay.
And if I don't give the values, what happens?
Yes.
It
Yeah.
Initialize.
initialize.
It gives the error, right?
Yeah.
And what is self?
So is a reference.
Reference will
A reference. What does the reference do? Self is a reference. So what does the reference do? It points to an object. You just have to remember one thing, that self points to the object, right?
Mm-hmm.
So first we'll see the methods tomorrow. I just don't want to elaborate today because again it will take an hour or so to explain the methods and the types of methods and the local variable, right?
Okay.
So I'll say the methods first, then the local variable, and next what you can say after that, we can have this types of methods. Okay. So as we have this instance variable, static variable, and local variable, we have instance method, static method, and class method also. different types of methods are there. Okay. So one day at a time we'll cover a topic. It will be fine. So your task today will be writing 2 more examples on this. This is important because you need to understand how the class works, how that memory works. So 2 programs similar to what I have written and send it. Is that clear? Right. So next things we'll see tomorrow for the methods thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Send this file, please. After.
And Rohit, we have shared how to import from different file location.
Yes,
And,
yes. I've seen
yeah.
that someone has, you have only kept, right? That
Yeah.
system.path.
Yeah.
Even I kept it, yeah. I tried it. But
So we have any other method or only this is the...
Yeah, that is a thing actually. System.path.
Actually, I have a question over there. So
Yes, ask.
system dot path dot append. I try
Yes.
to use insert, and insert need two instance object over there. So what is like insert and append? How we can, because I was reading on the article and it said by insert you can also do that. I was not able.
Yeah, like it's similar to insert and append methods. Like you just have to say what is the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Have you gone through the difference in the thing? Because remembering all the stuff will be difficult, right? Yeah, append versus insert in sys. Python syspath append versus insert. You'll get the details, right? You'll get these things like just Google things, you will understand directly. Like what is system append and a path means. Okay.
Okay.
But we don't use the system append in real time because no one will have separate directories, right? So mostly we will be having that same folder and trying to access those things. Okay.
Okay.
So I'll just send this file to you also.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Right there.
Okay.
So that's it for today. Tomorrow we'll see the methods concept. Any doubts in today's session?
No,
That's fine.
Right. Okay. So we have to see the frozen set also. Like few other concepts is there. I'll just let you know. But if I forget, just remind me between those classes. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.